Hey guys, and welcome back to Trekyards 80.
Or is it Trekyards 2260s? I can't tell. It's so the same. Nothing's changed.
Welcome back.
And he's
Commander
further.
Cookings. I didn't say anything yet.
So excited. He's got further.
Yes. So we're looking at Lower Deck, Season 5, Episode 5, Starbase 80?
Already could have called it Lower Deck, Season 5, Episode 5, the one for Trekyards.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much ships, but what else they did. So what do you think of this episode, Stuart?
It was great. It was like my favorite episode of this season by far. And no mention of interdimensional rifts, which was odd. But they did talk about the alternate Freeman, I guess. So, no, this was great. I really enjoyed this one, and I am looking forward to watching it a few more times. I know there's a few hidden Easter egg things.
It's gonna be.
Yeah. And I thought it was great. And all it made me think was they need another series in like 2 or 3 years called Lower Decks, the Previous Generation or something. Going back to like a TOS era one would be fantastic and perfectly on brand for Lower Decks. So, no, I thought it was great. Kind of surprised me with a few things here and there. And it was great seeing Starbase 80 finally in all of its TOS glory. How about you? What did you think of this one? I know you're excited. I can tell.
Yeah, well, I finally have stuff to do and prep, and the 1 week I haven't got much time to do. Just next week, guys, it'll be amazing. No, it was great. The only thing I'll say caveating is that it didn't have a punch at the end that I was expecting, and there's no Legacy who could come back, so they said Legacy's going to come back. I guess they're all in the final 5, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. They could have easily found loads of spaces. So the end was gentle. I really liked the low-keyness of the ending. It's really good, but I wanted that, rather than Freeman finding a bat, there could have been one more bigger punch at the end. But that's it, really. I love the simpleness of the overall story. I love the fact that, a place that's built up so much has to pay off. And it did. It was random, it was weird, it was cool, it didn't make a lot of sense, as in why is NX and TOS stuff? But it was consistent at least. There wasn't like a variety of uniforms. It was these are the two things. Like, okay. Random alien biker gang. Did it add something? Sure. Is it weird? Yes. Cool. The again, very consistent TOS tech. I was expecting this Starbase to be falling apart because it's hodgepodge, but it wasn't. They went with the TOS aesthetic throughout. I kept looking for Strange New World version of something or a Discovery version of something that's tech related, and there wasn't. So it was very intentional, and I appreciate that. And of course, we'd said since day one, give us a TOS episode, and this is as close as they obviously felt they could get, and it was pretty damn far. So big thumbs up, and really a lot of character work. And I love the New Elorian gal, the 30-year-old. She was just a breath of fresh air, with no twist. The twist that there's no twist with her. And the Dolphins is always great to see. A really dense episode, lots of story, lots of character, something pretty much happening all the time, but no end sting, which I would have liked. But
yeah, Cassian Knox was great, actually. Good character. But yeah, seeing the Doctor half transformed into the Geordie alien.
Hey, it's British, isn't it?
Tarchanan parasites. That explains a lot about you. You got the Tarchanan parasite.
Clearly. I just have good skincare.
It didn't affect your look. That's fine. That's good.
Yeah, great character. The fact that he solved the problem as well was really fun.
And Chad, the corn dog guy. I love the fact that there's like food vendors throughout, much like Deep Space Nine, but instead of replicators. I thought that was a nice little twist as well.
And in fact, the inefficiency of the comms meant they weren't affected. And the fact that they had a food meant they could pull the zombies away. So the fact they didn't have replicators and comms was actually the solution to both problems, and it was set up well. Again, silly and hard to believe, this whole thing, but once you buy into it's just that left alone. It's like, yeah, I buy it. Replicators, you gotta have some people who just give out food.
It definitely gave me vibes of the first episode of season 1 with the zombie outbreak thing.
Yes.
But yeah, it was good. I mean, oh my God, I don't even know where to start.
Properly dense episode.
Yeah, seeing the command center of the Starbase, just seeing all the TOS was really nice. Honestly, it looked really good, and that's why I kept thinking, we need to see a Lower Decks TOS era one. Come on.
And it was a bit modernized because it wasn't. it was a nice hybrid of a few things. So we're going to cover that next week in detail. But it was both and neither, which actually worked really well for this version.
And it had like motion picture displays
Sometimes.
At the end. Like it was an interesting hodgepodge of different Starfleet tech over the years.
But mostly not, though, which is why it was also kind of cool. I know. It was committing.
Yeah, I think they could have done a little more with that. I would have been cool to see a Monster Maroon or two walking around. Yes, we did see them in the store. Saw some Discovery stuff in the store. Don't know if anybody noticed that.
See, I'll go with internal consistency versus just everyone's wearing different uniforms, because that's so hard to explain. That's Star Trek Online logic. So, yeah, I'll agree with that. That's why at the end it would have been nice to have seen like a deck that they haven't accessed in 20 years. Like if you're doing a Sting and like a Wrath Khan group comes out, it's like, oh, we've just escaped. How long have you been there? Oh, 60 years. You could have, you know what I mean? They could have been a really fun Sting, but that's okay.
The arcade was cool too, seeing some of the video games.
Great Koala the game.
Yeah. There was a Ferengi game, the Romulan one that he was playing with Romulan ships shooting refits.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot in here that I really enjoyed, and it was a really good story too. Like it kept me interested. Like it wasn't boring at any point. I did not expect the twist to go back to cetacean ops with the whales,
but it makes sense when you see the green right at the start. Like I knew they were going to be something, even if it's just a case of mentioned again. But it was a nice setup. And
when she said energy ghost, I thought, oh god, it's referring to Sub Rosa. But the planet they went to initially was Piscus 9, which was an ocean world, which I don't think is the same one from Sub Rosa. I could be wrong, but I thought it was interesting. It had the same look with the green energy glow and stuff.
Well, I just took it as again more TOS love. It's a sentient life form, guys. Brilliant. Like that was very in keeping with the style. Well, I kind of thought again they're going to add a Sting where it was going to be like a young Organian officer, and they were going to have them come aboard, and because they said young officer, and it'd be like, oh, you're not as ugly as Kirk. Again, something kind of small, but I thought that was a nice little link. There's so many of those life forms, it's all good. So did you guess that the bridge guy was actually the engineer guy?
No. I
thought they were probably going there because I thought that'd be the silliest way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I was right.
I was interested to find the thing that boggled my mind was the fact that he showed up before they did to every spot. Like he knew that the turbolift would malfunction and they'd go down to that one. It just seemed a little odd. And then I thought, okay, maybe he's like a clone. Maybe there's a bunch of different versions of him on the station.
Hello, Wayun. The new Wayun.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, I took it as, and they basically say in the episode that he is manipulating them to fix as much as possible. So he knows how to use a station properly. So he's able to just take the working elevator, the working lift down, whereas they don't know what's what. So he's always able to beat them to it because he knows how to get there. Like taking the stairs, right? The stairs, he can just take a working turbolift. So he could have beaten them every time. Yes, the real corridor is weird, but I guess you could argue that they did follow the map correctly and therefore he did lead them. If you're going to take literally, right? They did follow it. But I like the fact that for those that don't remember, red, of course, was engineering in NX. So the fact that engineering is red means any new Trek fan will say, he's a red, therefore he's command. But I registered red was actually engineering in NX, so I knew he was an engineer. So I guessed. So, but you have to know NX to know that. So it's a fun little, if you know kind of thing. Although it would be nice to see more officers, but also they had enough characters, right? They threw a lot of people in there.
The one thing that still didn't make sense to me, like it didn't make sense when I kind of put together that the gel, the decontamination gel, was in this episode with Starbase 80. They say it. The transporters aren't, good with organics, so you got to use the gel. Just use Cerritos transporters to beam over. Then that still bugged me a little bit. There was still not a satisfactory explanation for that. That was definitely a mild plot hole. Now, if they had said that the green energy that zapped the whale at the start, which we did see, also ruined transporters, cool. Didn't say that. You could argue that, if they aren't, as in the Starbase, if they're that concerned about or microbes, then they won't go trust Cerritos' pattern buffers, which in theory do the decontamination. So they insist, like, nope, I'll whale the highway.
But it would have been nice to have said that. But again, very dense, right?
Yeah. I also at one point thought maybe it was the decon gel that affected something that the Cerritos brought to the station. That's why they were getting infected. That didn't pan out either.
Yeah, I also I definitely got, you know, this episode of real proper setups and payoffs. So if you're aware of how that works structurally, like I knew the combatants were doing something. Clearly, they do it enough, right? But I didn't guess the way they did it. And obviously, Back to the Whales was beautiful. You know, this episode works so well because you've been told for years Starbase 80 is a terrible place with dumb people, and everybody in it is pleasant, happy to, apart from the biker gangs, although they're medium. All the Starfleet are just happy to be there, doing the best they can with a crappy situation, actually being really good Starfleet in the bad situation. And Mariner is the context character that tells the audience it's a bad time. So I really appreciated the vibe that it wasn't their fault, it was us that brought it over. That really makes like, yeah, we messed up. Although that said, boy, warping out in within what 12 hours of Starbase 80, they were at warp that seconds away, right? So they were literally in the sector. You don't quite realize how close space is. They would have known it was the closest starbase, and they would have probably been hailed by Starbase 80 on the way, because again, yeah, that always happens, right? And once you're out of warp, you can't. Impulse is so slow. It had to be almost in this, solar system, not literally, but it was very, very close.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew you were there.
We can go 400 years to get to Deep Space 6.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
I loved Cassie Knox's character. She was the Elorian.
Excellent.
And
yeah.
The fact that she was there voluntarily, because Starbase 80 for her is all about second chances. I loved that. That was great. And no, I'm 30. Well, that just makes you a regular person.
I'm older than you. Jesus. And that was actually, and this is what Lower Decks, when Lotus uses canon, when we think effectively, right, it adds a really nice point, like using Bozeman guy, him in an episode, showing him, tells us that he's done Starfleet, like it's a really useful canon point. So having to be a 30-year-old Elorian means the Elorians are safe. They're creating more Elorians. It's working. She's happy. She doesn't seem super, whatever. So you can now take that, say, post Star Trek Enterprise B, generations, they managed to rebuild and be somewhat okay, to then want to go on a really low-end starbase. So it's a really useful canon point. Say 30 years means she's fresh off the boat, right? She's brand new, welcome to the world. And it would have been great if she'd been 400. Would have been absolutely fine either way. But that was a really nice little canon point Mike did, or whoever wrote it. It was a really nice little... Now, what do you think of the fact they sort of sidelined Freeman into a ghost corridor and then fought bats for a good part of her screen time? Because that's what actually happened, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think Freeman and Ransom had a good amount in this, honestly. The ending was kind of lackluster a little bit. Like you, I was hoping for a little bit more of a sting, but I was so pleased with the whole episode that I didn't need it. I didn't feel like I needed it.
Yeah, we've got a fully lovely baked cake. There wasn't quite that cherry, but there's a lot of layers of juicy cake to eat, so it doesn't quite matter.
We got the explanation that she was in fact in charge of Starbase 80 in that other universe from the first episode, which we just knew that she was assigned there. I don't know if she's assuming that she's in charge of it, or if they've learned more since. Well, maybe, yeah.
I mean, from there, I must be. Like, yeah, it was definitely a lackluster end, but I liked the fact that they allowed us to see the station. They were not a good perspective character, and the fact that we again just kept seeing TOS environments was great, lovely. How easy it is to repair things when you know modern tech is nice. That was a fun little gag, and the stairs. I absolutely smile broadly. TOS cannon stairs, of course, but also the internal logic of don't see those often in space. Love it, perfect, great, wonderful.
I mean, saying that, it's every MSD you look at, there are stairs to each deck. There has to be. You can't just rely on turbo lifts every time. So I thought that was kind of funny. But
yeah, there might be like single stairs up as like a staircase.
One thing that I kind of wish now, thinking back to it, like I loved all the TOS stuff. Don't get me wrong.
We just watched it, guys, so we're very much first reacting here.
And some of the movie era, computer graphics, especially at the end when they have it in the thing in containment, right? I would have loved actually if some of the base was refit era, like the station got half refitted and then they stopped. So like some decks were like refit era, or at least half the corridor was, and the other half was TOS. That would have been kind of funny. Like the station wasn't important enough to continue the refit. But anyway, it's a small thing. At least they had some of the display monitors and stuff being the movie era.
Well, in fact, that would have been perfect when Freeman is in the spooky corridor. Had that been the TMP refit style with the chrome, which would have been, all the reflections have been really eerie. And they walk in, and it's like, what happened here? Oh yes, they were mid refit, but they ran out of budget, and so and because they never finished them, these decks aren't used.
Yeah,
and then her bit would all be on these cool other scenes. And if you want to go really high end, have the final thing not be a Bat Be a Gorn from Into Mirror Darkly. And it's like, I've just been lost here. I keep running. You could have built up the end a bit, but no, pretty darn great. Love the sick bay. Everything was TOS appropriate but different.
His tricorder was interesting.
His tri was very interesting. Yeah,
it was like a medical tricorder, but not modern, and it had like the things on the side, like
it was TOS shape, but modernized. Yeah. Purely to make that shit, because that was nice, and it was very thin. It was a really sleek little prop.
It looked really good, and I was, what is that? I'd never seen that before. So I like that.
Because it would be hard to justify using those like properly old tricorders. That like physical, renovating walls, fine, but a replicator you can just bring a new one. But obviously the newest one, fine. So that definitely taught me, an in between TOS and TMP one. And for a few bloody frames, the Elorion was using a TOS phaser. I heard it. My brain noticed it was probably there.
I heard it.
And it is there, and then they walk away from it. But they did use one, so it's an NX character on a post-Nemesis star base using a TOS phaser. That's what Lower Decks is for us anyway. So yeah, loads to talk about, Stuart, loads of specifics, loads based on visuals. We'll get into that soon. Live's on Monday, guys. I'm sure we'll have other stuff to talk about that week. This is crammed, and definitely made for us, so thanks. Hopefully more to come.
Thanks to Mike and team. You did a great job. So yes, tune into our live on Monday. And we'll see you then. And check out our content this weekend. We'll have some stuff this weekend from this episode. So don't worry, we're not cheating. You can get lots more from this episode. I guarantee it. Anyway, guys, so hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell icon so you don't miss that content as well as the lives that we're going to be doing. We do lives all the time. And join us. And comment down below. What did you think about this episode? Was it your favorite of the season so far? Let us know.
And if you want to let us know what you really, really think, you can super chat on any of our lives, as Stuart mentioned, on any topic, not just the one that's in the title. But let us know what you think. Say hi, support the channel if you can. Or monthly, if you want us to keep doing what we do as long as we can. Then Patreon or join the channel. Both are monthly. And even $5 a month does help a lot. Or super chat, or super thanks, on any video. It's a super chat, but on any video like this one. So if you loved Lower Decks doing TOS kind of, super thanks right now, or buy merch down below the store.
That's right. So until next time, he's Commander Cockings.
He's kind of Foley.
See you later, guys.
Bye, guys.